The mysterious disappearance of Earth's seat. The galaxy was vast, and its leaders had seen many strange and powerful civilizations. But there was one planet that always intrigued them: Earth. For centuries, Earth's seat in the Galactic Council had remained empty, a symbol of its absence from the intergalactic stage. No one knew why. The seat wasn't left unoccupied by choice. It had been abandoned. But why? The leaders of the galaxy were uneasy. There had been whispers, rumors, that Earth had once been a mighty force, far stronger than anyone had ever imagined. Yet, after a catastrophic event, the planet had vanished from the galactic eye. Some said Earth had self-destructed. Others believed its people had been wiped out by a war so brutal that nothing of the planet remained. But as time passed, the galaxy began to move on, and the mystery faded into the background. Until now. It all started when a powerful alien diplomat from the Zorith Empire, Keller, entered the Galactic Council chamber. He was a battle-hardened warrior, respected by all for his wisdom and strength. His species had been around for centuries, dominating the stars with advanced technologies and fleets. Yet, as he entered the chamber, a strange unease filled the room. The other leaders, from distant star systems, watched as Keller stood before them. His eyes were locked onto the empty seat that had once belonged to Earth, and a deep silence filled the room. "Why is it empty?" he asked, his voice firm yet laced with confusion. The council members shifted uncomfortably. The question had been asked before, but no one had dared to dig deeper into Earth's past. Keller, however, was not one to back down from a challenge. He had heard rumors during his travels, whispers that Earth was not the insignificant planet it was made out to be. He wanted answers. One of the oldest members of the council, Silith, a wise and ancient alien from the Eisenor race, spoke up. Earth's seat was abandoned long ago. The reason for its vacancy is lost to history. He paused, his gaze never leaving the empty chair. No one speaks of it. The planet's fate remains a mystery. But Keller wasn't satisfied with the answer. His mind raced with possibilities. He knew that for a planet to be left off the galactic radar, it had to be powerful in some way. The Zorith Empire, despite its dominance, was not foolish enough to underestimate an unknown force. Earth had been erased from galactic records, but why? And more importantly, why hadn't anyone dared to investigate? "I demand to know the truth," Keller said, his voice now louder, more demanding. "The time has come to lift the veil on Earth's disappearance." Silith's face hardened, and for the first time in centuries, he seemed uneasy. "It's not something that can be understood by mere curiosity," he warned. "The events surrounding Earth's absence are dangerous. Some truths are best left untouched." The other council members shifted uncomfortably, their faces etched with fear. Keller noticed it. This wasn't just about a missing planet. This was about something far more serious. Something ancient. The room fell into silence again. Then, a younger member of the council, a bold diplomat from the Vega system, spoke up. "Perhaps it's time we look into this," he said, a nervous edge to his voice. "We cannot afford to remain ignorant. What if Earth still exists? What if it is waiting to re-enter the galactic stage?" Keller's eyes narrowed as he considered this. The idea seemed absurd, yet the thought of an entire planet, once powerful enough to rule the stars, lost to history, left a heavy weight in his chest. What could have happened to Earth? What was so terrifying about this planet that the galaxy had chosen to forget it? And so a plan was set in motion. A covert group of scouts would be sent to Earth. They would observe from a distance, gather information, and report back. The council needed answers. If Earth was truly gone, then the galaxy could move on. But if it still existed, if the planet had been hiding, waiting for the right moment to rise again, then the galaxy needed to be prepared. As the council broke up, Keller stood, still gazing at the empty chair. There was something in his gut that told him this wasn't the end of the story. It was only the beginning. The galaxy had forgotten Earth, but Keller felt that the planet's secrets were far from over. If Earth was still out there, Something far greater than anyone could imagine was waiting. The scouts were sent in secrecy, knowing that what they might uncover could change the galaxy forever. As their ships departed, the fear in the air was palpable. Earth had been gone for so long, but its shadow still hung over the galaxy. Something deep inside Kaler told him that the reason for Earth's absence was far darker than anyone could imagine. And somewhere, deep within the forgotten corners of space, Earth's mysteries waited to be uncovered. The question remained: what had truly happened to Earth, and what had terrified the galaxy's rulers enough to make them erase it from history? Only time would tell. The Galactic Council had decided to send scouts to Earth, hoping to uncover the truth about the mysterious disappearance of the planet and its empty seat. Tension hung in the air as whispers of Earth's lost history spread across the galaxy. But as the scouts traveled through space, no one could predict what they would find. On a remote planet, deep within the Zorith Empire, Kaler paced anxiously. He couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's absence wasn't just the result of some accidental catastrophe. There was something more, something sinister, behind the planet's disappearance. The rumors he'd heard were chilling, and the Council's decision to investigate Earth was just the beginning. Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, a team of scouts landed on Earth's surface. They didn't expect to find much. They assumed they'd find nothing more than a ruined planet, abandoned centuries ago, its once great civilization now nothing but dust and memory. But as they descended through the atmosphere, they were struck by the strange energy readings coming from the planet's surface. It wasn't just a dead world, it was alive in ways they hadn't anticipated. The lead scout, a young alien named Lyra, was the first to notice something strange. The landscape was eerily silent, no signs of wildlife, no usual hustle of planetary activity. Yet in the distance, faint structures rose from the Earth, massive, ancient, and covered in mysterious symbols. The energy from these structures was like nothing the scouts had ever encountered. It was as though the planet was hiding its true power, keeping it buried deep beneath the surface. Lyra's curiosity got the best of her. She signaled her team to investigate the structures, hoping to find some clue as to why Earth had been erased from galactic records. The closer they got, the more intense the energy became. It was as though the planet itself was alive, watching them. "We need to be careful," Lyra warned, her voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and fear. "We have no idea what's waiting for us here. These readings, they're unlike anything we've seen." Her team hesitated, but they followed her lead. They reached the largest of the structures, which appeared to be some sort of ancient temple. It was carved with intricate designs, and the air around it hummed with an unseen power. The scouts had to be cautious. There were no records of these structures in any galactic archives. This was all new, and it was terrifying. As they entered the temple, the walls seemed to come alive with faint whispers, voices that sounded almost like echoes from another time. The scouts couldn't understand the language, but they felt the urgency in the air. Lyra pressed forward, her heart racing. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Somewhere, hidden in the dark recesses of the temple, there was something they weren't meant to see. Suddenly, a voice boomed out from the shadows, ancient and filled with a strange, commanding power. "Leave now, or suffer the consequences." The scouts froze, their hearts pounding. The voice seemed to come from everywhere, echoing off the walls. It wasn't a threat. It was a warning. But a warning of what? What was hidden on Earth that had caused the galaxy to avoid it for so long? The voice grew louder, more insistent. Lyra stood frozen in place. She knew they couldn't just leave now. They had come too far, and the mysteries of Earth were too great to ignore. But as her hand reached for the communicator to call for reinforcements, the ground beneath them shook, and a blinding light engulfed the room. The scouts scrambled to escape, but before they could, the light dimmed, and standing before them was a figure, a human, but not like any human they had ever seen. This one was dressed in armor, covered in symbols they didn't recognize. He was tall, imposing, and his eyes seemed to glow with an otherworldly power. "I am one of Earth's last guardians," the figure said in a deep, commanding voice, "and you should not have come here." Lyra was stunned. She had heard of ancient human warriors, legends from long ago, but she had never imagined they were real. This was a being from Earth's past, a time when humanity was thought to have been wiped out. The stories spoke of human warriors who fought fiercely to protect their planet, but no one knew what had happened to them. The human guardian took a step forward, and the scouts instinctively backed away. "The stories you've heard are true," he continued. "Earth's warriors never truly disappeared. They have been watching, waiting, and now the time has come." Lyra's mind raced. What did he mean by that? What had Earth been waiting for all these years? And why had the galaxy never been told about these ancient guardians? Could it be that Earth was not just a forgotten planet? It was a sleeping giant, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The human guardian raised his hand, and the ground shook again, more violently this time. The scouts gasped as they realized the full extent of Earth's hidden power. The guardians had kept the planet's true strength buried for centuries, waiting for the right time to reveal it. "We were never gone," the guardian said, his voice filled with ancient wisdom. "We were simply waiting for the day when the galaxy would come to know what Earth truly is." The scouts quickly realized that Earth was not the dying, forgotten world they had thought it to be. It was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. And the secret of Earth's ancient warriors had been hidden from the galaxy for a reason, because the truth was too powerful to be known. As the light around them grew brighter, Lyra's heart pounded in her chest. The mystery of Earth had only deepened, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The scouts stumbled back, their hearts racing as the human guardian stood before them, an unyielding presence in the darkness of the ancient temple. The energy that surged through the ground was like a shockwave, almost as if the planet itself had stirred awake. The revelation was like a weight pressing on their chests. Earth was not a forgotten world. It was a dormant power, with secrets buried deep beneath its surface. And now it was awakening. Lyra's team stood frozen, too shocked to move. The air was thick with tension, and the silence that followed felt suffocating. The human guardian studied them with piercing eyes, his expression unreadable. "You have come to Earth seeking answers," he said, his voice firm but not unkind. "But the truth is not something you are prepared to understand." One of the scouts, a brave but reckless alien named Zar, took a step forward, his voice trembling with disbelief. "We've only come to uncover what happened to Earth, to understand why it was erased from galactic history." The guardian's lips curled into a faint smile. "Erased? Earth was never erased. It was hidden, buried beneath layers of time, forgotten by the galaxy, but never truly gone." Zar's eyes widened, and the implications of the guardian's words began to sink in. What could Earth have been hiding? What had the galaxy overlooked for so long? "We were Earth's protectors," the guardian continued, his tone grave. "A long time ago, when the galaxy faced threats too great to comprehend, humanity rose to defend it. But we did not do so alone. We were guided by an ancient force, one that has slumbered for centuries beneath the Earth, a force that can no longer remain dormant." Lyra could feel the weight of those words pressing down on her, as though the very air had thickened with ancient power. Her team exchanged uneasy glances. They had come to uncover Earth's secrets, but now they were beginning to realize that they had stumbled upon something far more dangerous than they ever imagined. "What force?" Lyra asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What is buried here?" The guardian's eyes narrowed, and he took a step closer. "The true history of Earth is far older than your records could ever imagine. The planet has always been a battleground, a place where the strongest forces in the galaxy have fought for dominance. But Earth's true power lies not in its military strength, but in the will of its people." The ground beneath them trembled again, and the faint whispers that had echoed through the temple grew louder, like the voices of long-dead warriors calling out from beyond the grave. Lyra's heart skipped a beat as she realized the whispers were not just echoes. They were warnings. "The time is coming," the Guardian said, his voice low and foreboding. "The galaxy is on the brink of war, and Earth's role in that war is yet to be revealed. The secrets of this planet will change everything." With that, the Guardian turned, walking toward the depths of the temple. Lyra hesitated, unsure of what to do. Her mission had been to uncover the truth of Earth's disappearance, but now she understood that what lay ahead was much more than a simple investigation. Earth was not a forgotten relic of the past. It was a force waiting to re-enter the galactic stage. The scouts followed the Guardian deeper into the temple, their footsteps echoing through the stone corridors. As they moved further inside, they came upon a massive chamber, its walls covered in ancient inscriptions that glowed faintly in the dark. The air was thick with the scent of dust and age. But there was something else, an almost tangible sense of power. Lyra's eyes were drawn to a massive stone altar at the center of the room. It was covered in strange symbols, some of which she recognized from the earlier carvings outside the temple. But there were others, symbols she had never seen before, and they seemed to pulse with an energy that sent a shiver down her spine. The Guardian approached the altar and placed his hand upon it. The room seemed to come alive, the energy around them intensifying, and the air crackled with ancient power. The Guardians of Earth had kept their secrets hidden for centuries, but now it was time to awaken them. "This is the heart of Earth's power," the Guardian explained, his voice reverberating in the chamber. "The strength of humanity is not just in its warriors, but in the will to survive. Earth's people have always fought against impossible odds, and it is that spirit that has kept the galaxy in balance." Lyra's mind raced as the implications of his words settled in. Earth was not just a planet with a hidden history. It was a living, breathing entity, shaped by the struggles and resilience of its people. And now, the galaxy would have to reckon with that strength. "The time has come for Earth to rise again," the Guardian continued, his eyes glowing with an intensity that sent a chill through the room. "The galaxy is unprepared for what it will face. The power of Earth's past is awakening, and those who underestimate its strength will regret it." The scout team stood in awe, their minds struggling to process the magnitude of what they were learning. The quiet, forgotten planet that had been left to history was no longer a relic. It was a sleeping giant, ready to reclaim its place among the stars. Lyra's heart beat faster as she realized the truth. Earth's seat had been empty for far too long, but now it would be filled again. And the galaxy would never be the same. The stakes were higher than ever, and Earth's forgotten history was about to change the course of the future. The air crackled with energy as Lyra and her team watched in stunned silence. The room around them seemed to pulse, the ancient altar glowing brighter as the Guardian stood before it, his hands resting on the stone surface. The walls of the chamber, covered in countless inscriptions, began to shift and change before their eyes, revealing images of a time long past. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest as she stared at the images. These were not simple carvings. They were memories, preserved in stone, of a time when Earth had been at the center of the galaxy's most intense conflicts. The scenes played out like a living history, showing battles, alliances, and the rise of a power unlike any other. But there was one common thread running through all of them: humans. In each scene, humans stood at the forefront of every battle, their strength, cunning, and resilience unmatched. They fought against impossible odds, wielding weapons and strategies that the galaxy had never seen before, and the galaxy feared them for it. "The galaxy has long underestimated humanity," the Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber, as if he had read Lyra's thoughts. "But what you see here is only the beginning. Earth's history is far older than anyone realized. The galaxy's rulers thought they could erase it, but they could not. The legacy of Earth's people is buried deep within this planet, waiting for the right moment to rise again." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes never leaving the glowing inscriptions. The truth was unfolding before her, but with each revelation, the weight of the responsibility they had uncovered grew heavier. Earth was not just a forgotten world. It was the key to a force that could shift the balance of the entire galaxy. As the images continued to play, Lyra felt a strange sensation wash over her. It was as if the very essence of the planet itself was speaking to her, calling to her. The whispers from earlier grew louder, like voices of long-dead warriors urging her forward. The energy in the room surged, and for a brief moment, Lyra felt a deep connection to the ancient power that lay beneath her feet. This force, it's not just energy, she murmured, more to herself than anyone else. It's humanity's spirit, their will to fight, to survive, to never give up. The Guardian nodded solemnly. Yes, and it is that spirit that kept Earth hidden for so long. It is the power of the humans who fought to protect this galaxy that has kept their legacy sealed away. But it will not stay sealed for much longer. A deep rumble echoed through the temple, shaking the walls and sending dust falling from the ceiling. The ground beneath them trembled once again, and Lyra instinctively reached out for support, her heart racing. What was happening? Was the temple's awakening a sign of something far greater? The awakening is already in motion, the Guardian continued. The galaxy is on the brink of chaos, and Earth's legacy will soon resurface. Those who thought humanity weak will soon understand their true power. Zar, the scout who had been the most skeptical of all, now stood in stunned silence. His eyes were wide with realization, and his mouth opened, but no words came out. He had come here to uncover the mystery of Earth, but now he understood that what lay beneath the surface was far more powerful than they could have imagined. The galaxy's rulers must be warned, Lyra said, her voice firm. They need to understand that Earth is not just a forgotten world. It is the epicenter of something far greater than they can comprehend. The Guardian's eyes gleamed with a knowing look. It is too late for warnings. The awakening has already begun, and the time of reckoning is fast approaching. Suddenly, the chamber's walls began to glow brighter, the inscriptions shifting faster, as if the temple itself were reacting to the energy that was building within it. The whispers from the past turned into a roar, the voices of countless warriors filling the air. Lyra felt her heart race as the energy reached a crescendo, the vibrations of the planet's power vibrating through her very bones. And then, all at once, the room fell silent. The energy stopped, and the images on the walls faded back into stone. The light dimmed, and the chamber returned to its quiet, ancient stillness. But something had changed. The air was heavier now, charged with a sense of urgency that hadn't been there before. The planet had awoken, and there was no going back. Lyra turned to the Guardian, her voice barely a whisper. What happens now? The Guardian stepped away from the altar, his gaze steady. Now you must return to your people. You must prepare for what is coming. Earth's legacy will no longer be hidden. The galaxy is about to learn the truth. Lyra felt the weight of his words sink into her. The truth was no longer a secret. It was an impending storm, one that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. Earth's seat would soon be filled once again, and its power would change everything. As the team left the temple, the sky above them seemed to darken, as if the very stars had sensed the shift in power. Lyra looked out over the horizon, her mind racing with the implications of what they had uncovered. Earth's time in the shadows was over. The galaxy would soon learn the price of underestimating humanity, and when that time came, the universe would tremble at the sound of Earth's return. As the days passed since the temple's awakening, Lyra and her team returned to their ship, the Celestial Dawn, their minds reeling from the truth they had uncovered. The journey back to their home base felt like a slow, painful crawl. The weight of the knowledge they carried, Earth's hidden power, the galaxy's long-forgotten fear of humanity, was almost too much to bear. The questions multiplied with each passing minute, each new discovery urging them forward, yet the answers remained frustratingly out of reach. Once aboard the ship, Lyra stared out the observation window, her thoughts consumed by the strange power she had felt in the temple. The whispers had not stopped. They were with her now, in her dreams, in the silence of the ship. She could still feel the ancient warriors of Earth calling to her, urging her to act. "They've been waiting for us," Lyra murmured, more to herself than anyone else. Zar, the scout who had once doubted everything, now stood beside her, his usual sarcasm replaced by a solemn quiet. "I know it's real now," he said softly. "I felt it too. The energy. It's not just some old relic. It's alive." Lyra nodded, understanding exactly what he meant. The power they had uncovered in the temple wasn't merely ancient energy. It was the spirit of Earth itself, a dormant force waiting to be unleashed. And now it was stirring, waking up. "How much longer until we're back at base?" Lyra asked the ship's navigator, Eris, a veteran of many space expeditions who had learned to read the stars like an open book. "Another 6 hours," Eris replied, his eyes scanning the star map. "But there's something else, Captain. I'm picking up a strange signal from the edge of the system." Lyra's heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Could Earth's secret fleet finally be making itself known? "Show me," she commanded, her voice sharp with urgency. Eris quickly brought up the signal on the ship's main screen. It was weak, faint, and fragmented, but unmistakable. The signature was ancient, yet unmistakable. A series of coordinates flashed on the screen, and for the first time since they had left the temple, Lyra felt a flicker of hope. "That's not just a signal," she said, almost whispering in disbelief. "That's a beacon. A call." "A call?" Zar asked, his brow furrowing. "Who's it calling?" "I think." Lyra paused, the pieces of the puzzle slowly falling into place. "It's calling Earth's fleet, the one hidden for centuries. The fleet no one knew existed." The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. The legacy of Earth wasn't just a buried secret. It was an active, dormant force that had been waiting for the right moment to reappear. The fleet was ready, just as the Guardian had said. But why now? What had triggered the fleet's activation? Eris, ever the pragmatist, worked quickly to triangulate the coordinates. "We'll need to take a detour to investigate. It's not far, but we'll have to move quickly before the signal fades." Lyra nodded. "Set course. And don't tell anyone else until we know what's going on. We can't risk alerting the wrong people." The crew worked in a quiet frenzy, preparing the celestial dawn for the detour. There was a palpable tension in the air now, the realization that they were about to uncover something far bigger than any of them had anticipated. Whatever awaited them at those coordinates would change everything. As the ship adjusted course, Lyra stood by the command center, her mind racing. The fleet, Earth's fleet, had been lost for centuries, hidden away by an ancient order of warriors. But now it seemed as though Earth's return to the galactic stage was inevitable. The galaxy's rulers, who had dismissed humanity as insignificant for so long, were about to realize the truth, and it would terrify them. The crew of the Celestial Dawn had already discovered a small fraction of Earth's legacy, but what lay ahead was unknown. What had Earth built during its time of isolation? What kind of fleet had been left behind? As they neared the coordinates, the signal grew stronger, pulsing in the silence of space like a heartbeat. The tension in the crew grew thick with anticipation. Every second felt like a century. The silence of space was broken only by the hum of the ship's engines and the occasional beep of the navigation console. Finally, the ship came to a halt at the location of the signal. The vastness of space stretched out before them, empty and silent. But then, a flicker appeared on the view screen. Something was there. A shape, an enormous shadow drifting in the dark. Lyra's breath caught in her throat as the shape came into focus. It was massive, far larger than anything she had ever seen. A fleet, dormant but unmistakably real, hiding just beyond the edge of known space. The ships were built with ancient technology, far advanced from anything currently in the galaxy. They were sleek, imposing and silent, waiting. "This is it," Lyra whispered, her voice barely audible. "This is Earth's fleet." But just as she prepared to give the order to approach, a warning light flashed on the console. The fleet wasn't the only thing out there. Something else was moving, something far less friendly. "Captain," Zar called urgently, "we're not alone." Lyra's eyes snapped to the screen, where a new set of coordinates appeared. A fleet of alien ships was converging on their location, its intent unclear. The galaxy's rulers were about to learn the truth about Earth, and they weren't coming to negotiate. "Prepare for battle," Lyra ordered, her voice steely with determination. "We've waited long enough. It's time to show them what humanity can do." The crew of the Celestial Dawn braced for impact as the massive alien fleet drew closer. Earth's legacy was awakening, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The crew of the Celestial Dawn held their breath as the alien fleet approached. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown to something monumental. Lyra stood at the helm, eyes fixed on the viewscreen, her hands gripping the console. The immense shadow of Earth's long-lost fleet loomed just behind them, silent and waiting, like an ancient titan stirring from a long slumber. "Captain, we're being hailed," Eris, the navigator, announced, his voice a little shaky. "They're demanding we surrender. They claim we've trespassed on sovereign territory." Lyra's lips curled into a tight smile. She had anticipated this. The galaxy's rulers were not going to be thrilled by the sudden appearance of Earth's fleet. They had long dismissed humanity as insignificant, as a species lost in time, unworthy of any real attention. But Earth's return, its hidden fleet, its ancient power, was about to rewrite the rules of galactic politics forever. "Tell them we refuse to surrender," Lyra said calmly. "And tell them they will regret underestimating humanity." The communication system flickered to life, and a distorted, hissing voice came through. It was alien, cold, and filled with authority. "You have been warned, intruders. Leave now or face the consequences." Lyra's fingers tightened around the command console. The fleet wasn't backing down, and neither were they. The weight of history pressed down on her. Earth had been alone, hiding in the shadows, but now it was ready to rise. This was no longer about secrets or relics. This was about survival, about showing the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. "Prepare for battle stations," Lyra barked. "We'll show them that Earth's seat was never empty." The crew scrambled into action. Zar moved to the weapons console, his fingers flying over the controls. "We've got enough firepower to make them rethink this. The fleet's technology. It's insane. It's like they knew we'd be here." Lyra nodded, her eyes never leaving the alien ships now approaching fast on the display. The message was clear. Earth was back, and the galaxy would have to contend with it. Suddenly, the comm system came to life again. The alien voice, colder now, demanded, "Do not force our hand. We are the Conclave of Seren, the rulers of this sector. Your actions are seen as an act of war." A chill ran through Lyra. The Conclave of Seren. They were the most feared species in the galaxy. Ruthless, calculating, and absolutely merciless. The same rulers who had laughed at Earth's empty throne for centuries. They were the ones who had ensured humanity was kept in the dark, trapped in their ignorance while the galaxy moved on without them. And now, they were coming to extinguish them, to stamp out the last embers of humanity's forgotten legacy. Lyra's eyes hardened. She was not going to let them take Earth's future away. "They can come," she muttered under her breath. "We'll make them regret it." Suddenly, alarms blared across the ship. The alien fleet had begun to fire. Green plasma bolts streaked across space, closing in on their position. The Celestial Dawn shook as the first blast hit, but the ship held steady, its shields absorbing the impact. "Shields holding, Captain," Eris reported, his voice full of tension. "But they're not going to stop. We need to act fast." Lyra's eyes flicked to the display. The alien ships were closing in, But they weren't as fast as they seemed. Earth's fleet, the one lying in wait, was beginning to wake up. The dormant ships were slowly coming to life, their engines sputtering as if stretching their wings after a long sleep. "Tsar, get me a targeting lock on their lid ship," Lyra ordered. On it, Tsar responded, his fingers moving with practiced precision. "Locking now." Fire. The celestial dawn fired a volley of missiles, each one speeding through space toward the Conclave flagship. The missiles hit with thunderous force, tearing through the alien ship shields, creating massive explosions in the vacuum of space. The Conclave ship shields flickered, weakening under the barrage. "That's what I'm talking about," Tsar shouted, a grin creeping onto his face. "Let them know we're not just some relic." Lyra barely acknowledged the victory, her focus unwavering. This was only the beginning. More ships from the alien fleet were closing in, and the dormant Earth fleet, while powerful, was still waking up. The confrontation was just starting. Suddenly, a loud, shrill alarm echoed through the ship. A new threat appeared on their sensors. From the edge of the system, a massive warship, larger than any of the Conclave's ships, emerged. Its silhouette cast a dark shadow over the battlefield, and its weapons began charging, glowing a bright, ominous red. "What the hell is that?" Eris asked, his voice thick with fear. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest. It was a ship she'd never seen before, and its energy signature was unlike anything they'd encountered. It was older, darker, and far more powerful than anything they could handle. "That," Lyra said grimly, "is the real threat." The new warship fired first, sending a massive energy beam toward the celestial dawn. The beam hit their shields with a deafening crack, sending shockwaves through the ship. It was a devastating blow, one that pushed the ship back, causing the crew to stumble from the sudden impact. "Shields at 60%, Captain," Eris called, trying to regain control of the ship's movements. Lyra's mind raced. Earth's fleet had just begun to wake, but it was clear they weren't ready to face this new enemy. The battle was growing more intense by the second. "We're not backing down," Lyra growled, her grip tightening on the console. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers. We're going to buy Earth's fleet the time they need to wake up fully." The crew worked together, their movements synchronized as they raced against the clock. The celestial dawn danced and weaved through enemy fire, dodging blast after blast from the Conclave and the new warship. But Lyra knew it was only a matter of time before they were overwhelmed. Then, something remarkable happened. One by one, the ships of Earth's hidden fleet powered up, their lights flickering on. Slowly at first, like sleeping giants stretching toward the stars. But soon, they were moving with purpose. The galaxy was about to learn something it would never forget. "Let's show them who we are," Lyra whispered, her voice filled with a quiet resolve. The battle was far from over, but humanity's long-forgotten power had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. The galactic battlefield stretched out before them like a vast, dark ocean. The Conclave of Siren and their terrifying new warship loomed over the scene, their weapons charging for another strike. The celestial dawn, battered but still holding strong, fought with everything it had to keep the onslaught at bay. But it was clear, the odds were shifting. Earth's fleet, its ancient, silent guardians, was beginning to awaken from their long slumber. Lyra stood at the command center, her mind racing, heart pounding in her chest. The crew had done everything right so far, but the final test was upon them. The celestial dawn had been their shield, their lifeline, but the true power of Earth's fleet had yet to fully reveal itself. "Captain, the dormant ships, they're fully operational," Eris shouted, his voice full of awe. "They're moving into position." Lyra's breath caught in her throat as she watched the once dead ships slowly shift in space, their engines flaring to life. Massive warships, each one older and more powerful than anything the galaxy had seen in centuries, began to form up behind them. Their hulls glinted in the starry expanse, each ship an imposing testament to the forgotten strength of Earth. The alien fleet, still reeling from their initial assault, hesitated for a brief moment. They hadn't anticipated this. They had believed the stories, the rumors that humanity had been defeated, left to rot in the annals of history. They had underestimated Earth's resilience, and now they were about to pay the price. Here they come. Tsar's voice rang out as he watched the massive fleet of Earth's ships emerge from the shadows. The flagship, Eagle's Reprisal, led the charge, its silhouette majestic and terrifying. The fleet's weapon systems powered up, and the calm of space was shattered as they opened fire. Explosions erupted in the distance as the Earth ship's weapons slammed into the Conclave's forces. The alien ships were caught off guard, their shields buckling under the relentless barrage. The energy beams from Earth's fleet cut through the vacuum like knives through paper, and alien ships began to break apart under the sheer force of the attack. "Target the Conclave's warship," Lyra commanded, her voice steady, even in the face of the chaos unfolding around them. Tsar quickly adjusted the targeting system. Locking now. Firing. A barrage of missiles shot out from the celestial dawn, speeding toward the Conclave's massive warship. The missiles hit their mark, exploding on impact with deafening force. The warship shook, its shields flickering as it struggled to maintain control. The crew aboard the Celestial Dawn watched in awe as the once imposing ship began to falter, its energy output weakening. "It's not over yet," Lyra muttered under her breath. "Not until Earth's throne is reclaimed." The battle was far from won, though. The Conclave's warship was still a formidable opponent, and its remaining forces rallied quickly. The sky around them filled with the deadly flashes of weapons fire as the galaxy's most feared empire fought to hold its ground. But Earth's fleet was relentless. One by one, the ancient ships moved into position, their immense firepower shaking the very fabric of space. The Eagle's Reprisal unleashed another barrage, and the Conclave's flagship finally buckled under the pressure, its core detonating in a blinding explosion. The shockwave rippled across the battlefield, sending debris scattering in every direction. "Direct hit. We've got them," Tsar shouted, his voice filled with excitement. Lyra allowed herself a rare smile. Victory was close, but she couldn't afford to relax just yet. The Conclave's forces were regrouping, and there was still much to be done. The galaxy was watching, and they had to send a message loud and clear. "Focus on their remaining ships. We finish this now," Lyra ordered. The Celestial Dawn was once again in motion, weaving through enemy fire as it targeted the remaining Conclave vessels. The battle continued, fierce and unforgiving, but Earth's might was undeniable. The ancient fleet that had once been thought lost now awoke and proved to be more powerful than the galaxy could ever have imagined. But just as victory seemed within reach, a new, unexpected twist emerged. A high-ranking Conclave commander, desperate to turn the tide, issued a final, last-ditch command. "Retreat." The order rang out from the remaining ships as they started to withdraw. But it was too late. The remaining Conclave ships were no match for the combined might of Earth's fleet. The Celestial Dawn launched a final round of missiles, catching the retreating ships in the blast, and one by one, the last of the Conclave's vessels were obliterated. The battle was over. In the silence that followed, Lyra stood motionless, staring out at the shattered remnants of the once feared Conclave fleet. The galaxy had witnessed the return of humanity, and it would never forget what it had seen. "Mission accomplished," Captain Eris said, his voice filled with respect. Lyra nodded. "We've reclaimed Earth's seat. Now it's time for the galaxy to remember. Earth never truly left." As the Celestial Dawn drifted among the ruins of the alien fleet, Lyra knew that the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. The throne of Earth, once thought empty and abandoned, was now a symbol of humanity's strength, a reminder to the galaxy that Earth was not only back, it was here to stay, and anyone who doubted humanity's power would have to answer to its fleet. And so, the story of Earth's return spread across the stars, a story of resilience, of strength, and of an unstoppable people. The galaxy would never again underestimate the species that had once been forgotten. Humanity had not only survived, it had risen, and it would rule again.